On? What's going on? How's everybody doing out there in cyberspace tonight? Y'all know what it is. Y'all should know by now because we at you guys every single week. Maybe not always on time, but we always there when you call. Y'all know what it is. The Extraordinary Man Podcast. So you guys know who I am. In case you don't, I am Phil Jones or Mike Jones, however you know me personally or professionally. And I am the host of the Extraordinary Man Podcast. And you guys know the hardest working co-host on the face of the planet. I don't understand. This man will go live from his living room. He will go live holding his newborn son. He will go live from the work site. He will go live from audio. He will go live from NASA if he got to. Y'all know who this is. Just in case y'all don't, introduce yourself, man.
What is going on? Appreciate y'all tuning in tonight, man. We got a real good show for y'all. But I am Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
This way or this way? Okay, that
All
works.
all roads lead to the destination.
I'm with it. I'm with it. And I'm light skinned. Well, not in this camera light, but I'll run with it. Jose, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for tuning in. By the way, I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Jose Torres for copping the Extraordinary Men gear. Before he even knew about putting out Extraordinary Man gear, when I was walking around with this little handsome little hat right here, he went ahead and said, "Hey, I would like to support you guys in the best way possible." And he went ahead and he special ordered an Extraordinary Man hoodie, and I just went and dropped it off to him at his work site today. Thank you guys so much for the support on that.
I appreciate that, Jose. Thank you, man. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. You know what I'm saying? It's always a pleasure to have you in the chat with us, man. Thank you.
Hold on, he actually even included pictures. Guess who's going up on the Instagrams?
What?
Say what? I know, right?
That you gonna have to fill me in because
Hold on, no.
being
I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna do you
no,
one
I'm saying
better.
being on the mobile, I can't see the chat and everything. So
Hold on. Can you see the screen share?
what? Yes, I can. Ooh, with the
Mean right there.
yeah.
Hold on. Not only is he wearing Extraordinary Man, but he's looking like an extraordinary man while he's doing it.
Mm.
You guys see, this is what we talk about in Extraordinary Man. When it comes down to support, he didn't say, "Hey, what can I get the big bro, little bro discount?" He didn't say how he paid full price. He asked, "Can he pay full price?" Kadeem Bourne specially handmade that particular garment just for him. It's not sitting in surplus. It was specially made just for him, solely for the purpose of him wanting to show his support to the podcast. And we humbly thank you for even bringing it up, because we didn't even have merchandise for sale. It wasn't even a thing that we was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to you, brother. Mad kudos to you.
You know, because of you, you actually opened the door. So got us thinking.
Ashley, what's going on? You know, one of the best things about the Extraordinary Man podcast that we get a lot of women traffic in here.
We do. We get a lot of women traffic in here. And you know what? What's your saying, Mike?
Which one? Because I say a lot of things.
Uh, strong enough for a woman.
Stronger than for a woman, but made for a man. Yeah, it's like the
Mm-hmm.
reverse of the secret deodorant podcast, Extraordinary Man podcast. Strong enough for a woman, but made for a man.
Yeah.
Stop it, guys. You making me blush. Oh, you gonna blush, and you gonna love it.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna love it. Entertainment circuit. Ashley, my condolences to you. Jose told me I'm not gonna go too personal in
Oh, I'm gonna
chat
uh,
in regard to
take
your.
my hat off for a second for you.
But knowing you personally and professionally, I just want to let you know that my heart goes out to you. My brother's heart goes out to you, and so forth. And so we hope for speedy recovery for the family.
Absolutely.
So now I know people don't want to come to the Extraordinary Men to be all sad and depressed. So what we finna do is we finna turn up. Oh no, we not. No, we not. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say we was gonna turn up.
Lady.
All right, so If you guys are looking at the title says there is a generational gap and it needs to be addressed. Okay, what does this mean? Where are we going with this? What exactly is he talking about? Push the pause button or rewind. Let's figure it out. A generational gap is basically a gap between levels of understanding that it seems like we are forgetting the fact that people walked the walk before us, but the way that the game was played was different. You know how you have a conversation about somebody saying, "Oh, you're like 30 something or 40 something. Why don't you own a house?" Well, when the house was $45 back in the day, it's not necessarily a a comparison to when a crappy house is 300 plus today, whereas when you look through the Zillow timeline, that same house 7, 8, 9 years ago, before I was even eligible to afford a house, was only $170,000. And then you go back 20 years from now, when you bought, every house in your neighborhood was going for 65,000. What we forget is that
Yeah.
what we forget is that the wage gap gets bigger every generation. So I remember as a boy going to the store and going to go buy ramen noodles for like 8 cents a pack. Loaf of bread was under $1. Milk was like $1 something. Eggs were whatever they were. When you start thinking about things, and as far as making $5 an hour when you had stuff that still cost a nickel, versus $15 an hour when that same stuff is $7. If you really think about
Yeah.
it in terms, the fight for 15 was saying I need to work half an hour minus taxes to buy a carton of eggs.
I mean, there's a few things that you have to take into consideration with that. Since we talking about, saying generational gap, back then you brought up, the wages and everything. Back then, like, this is recent, as of like the 50s, a yearly, and you can research this, a yearly income was like $1,200. The minimum wage was like $2.
And you could afford a house, a car, and the wife can stay at home and raise the children.
Stay at home. You was able to, yeah, you was able to take care of the household. You was able to provide for the vehicle, the maintenance, provide for the baby, everything, and you could still have enough money to go on vacation
But
with
let's
that pay.
also but let's also go a step further than that. Put some sauce on them ribs. Realistically, products were made better. You had cars that were
Yeah.
made out of steel. You didn't have
Yes.
cars that if you blow them the wrong way, that they would just completely bend, scratch, and fold up in a moment's notice. You
Yeah.
had good engines. You had craftsmanship was important because you understood the importance of competing against international competition.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned something about the fight for 15. So let's take that into perspective. The fight for 15, what a lot of individuals is not taking into consideration of, okay, now you're getting the 15 to 18 to $20 an hour, but like you said, that same loaf of bread and all that now is now $7. So the cost of what it was back when minimum wage was 7, 8.25, $7 to 8.25 an hour, and the bread and the milk and the eggs cost this. Now you're making 15, 20 an hour, and now the bread, milk, and eggs cost this. So the price adjustment, there was no change. It's technically the same.
No, actually, it's worse because most times when inflation kicks in, it's going to kick in about 2 or 3 times before the first cost of living increase happens. So you're going to see prices go up. Like you have to think about it. That gasoline right now, I think is by my house. I think it's like 3.41 a gallon, somewhere in the ballpark. This is the last time I saw it.
Mhm.
The last time that we saw gas in the twos was when Trump was in office.
Yeah, like 289. Like, yeah, yeah,
Now, I
yeah.
want
It's
you to think
crazy.
about this. Prior to that, the first time that I saw gas in the threes was Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep. Yep.
A dollar went way further during the time of Hurricane Katrina than it goes now. And you can evidence that by looking at what did a can pop cost you at that time. What
Like
did
like
certain things?
15 cents.
Yeah, like what? Not really that cheap, but it's like a Coca Cola or something might have been
Yeah,
under.
but it was like a quarter.
Wasn't that cheap?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it
Wasn't
was. And you used to be able to get the little small bag of chips. You used to get four for a dollar.
that
Now you.
chips? Yes. Okay, I'm not gonna go into the nuance. I'm not gonna go into the. Listen, he knows I'm Mr. Google Facts, and I will take him to task on anything. But I don't want to get lost in my point because I can easily get drawn to the nuances. But say I see it this way. Before things were made to last, so you got your money's worth. These days, these things are made to break at a certain point, so you go and buy it again. The thing
Well,
is,
it's not so much that you go and buy it again. That's part of it, but you also got to understand that the repair and maintenance industry is a multi-billion-dollar business. That's why there was this huge giant revolt with Apple with the whole right to repair campaign. Like it's a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry. So
well,
yeah, things are designed to last a certain, like this GMC. They know exactly when this transmission is gonna die. They know exactly when the drivetrain gonna die. They know exactly when the alternator is gonna die, and then they base their warranty based on the mileage or however long
the
this
likelihood.
product is gonna last, whichever one come first.
So let's take
And
it a
they
step.
know.
Let's take it a step further than that. You see, one thing that you didn't have, like when you went to go buy a Chrysler back in the 1950s,
Oh my
1960s.
God.
Hold on. When you went to go buy a Chrysler back in the 1950s, 1960s, it was
Okay, they were
all one
good
car.
then. Okay, they they were
It
good
was
cars then.
all just one car. You went to go buy a Cadillac. It was just one
Mm,
car. You went to
mm,
go buy whatever was available. You had one car. Currently, you have a difference between what they will call your upscale and your low scale. So now what they figured is that they can upsell quality. So if you're gonna buy something that is intended to work properly, so right now I'm using a Mac to do my podcast off of. The camera that I use to stream off of is made by Sony. It's not the top most souped up stuff. But the one thing you know about Apple as a brand is that it's made to work exactly the way it's supposed to the second you take it out the box. I don't have to go buy bells and whistles and trinkets to make it better than what it is. If you go and buy an LG phone, you're going to get LG quality. If you go to buy a Samsung Galaxy S23, you're going to get Samsung Galaxy S23 quality. If you go buy a Hawaii or whatever that thing is over there with that name that you can't pronounce that you've never seen before, expect what you get from it.
hmm
Trying to save a dollar is
hmm
going to cost you 2 to 3 times more than what it was initially to just go and buy the right thing the first time. I can't tell you how many times that practicing whatever craft, how many microphones I've bought, how many keyboards, because I'm trying to save money and still get the same product that you don't get that product by going cheap. A
hmm
mentor of mine, I remember Midas, I was telling you about this the other day. A mentor of mine in the music space once said, it's a poor craftsman who blames his tools for shitty work. And it's an even poorer craftsman who buys shitty tools. That's what that
that's
phrase,
that's a hell of a statement.
but that's what that phrase you
It
get what
says
you
a
pay
lot.
for. But that's what that phrase you get what you pay for comes from. You have to
hmm
understand that it's like since things have changed and since society operates on a different set of principles, is that at one point in time when these were what was available, you got quality out the gate. Now on the other side, you have to pay more to get more.
hmm
You don't just get to go and buy because okay, well, Samsung only got one phone. Now Samsung got like 15 phones. Now Samsung got the same phone. Okay, well, I got the Galaxy S23 Ultra, but they got the 1 terabyte version, they got the 500 gigabyte version, the 256 version. The two
And
fifty
then
seven.
they got and then they got their lower tiers. They got their A series.
Yeah,
The
you got
basic
your. Yeah, I
basic
got my
Android.
Apple iPhone 14, and then I turn around and I got the what is that the little cheapy one that might cost like $400 that look like the iPhone 4, but its
Hmm.
value it's got a little bit better processor or whatever have you. I go and I get the iPad Pro, or you get the iPad 9, which is kind of the same, a little bit of an upgrade from the iPad 8. But if you want the Pro with the high resolution and it's gonna last you an additional
All
year,
that retina and all that. Yeah.
you're gonna pay for it. So that means you didn't do your research properly. No, that just means that you have to understand the play. You got to understand the play. Like literally, it's not a situation to where when we're looking at what's different between their generation and ours, right? So in certain spaces, when we have a conversation about generational wealth, we can't negate the fact that there was a layer of difficulty in place for our grandparents on the black side, that thing called redlining and banks not wanting to give out certain loans for certain areas, that happened in recent history. So,
That's still happening in certain areas.
but the point is that is like when it was predominant practice, when it was legal to do,
Hmm.
that stifled decades of generational wealth of property ownership and passing down property that many black people did not get to experience. But the difference is the fact that our generation is a generation that's a little bit bolder, and my generation gave birth to a generation of children who actually know what it feels like to be privileged.
Yeah.
So here's what happens, and I'm gonna play a video for you guys. If you guys want to see a video, y'all want video time? Say y'all want video time. Y'all want video time? I want to show y'all a small little clip of a video, and I want to get y'all thoughts on it. I'm gonna play it anyway. Who cares? Anyway, let me go and pull this video up real quick. Might as go and entertain the people while I pull this video up. Okay, like
So
legit, go like legitimately entertain the people, bro.
I was.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, but I am reporting live. I've been real busy for the past, I don't know, month. I did a quick roundabout drive. I drove 9 hours to Pennsylvania to go do a job. Uh, had a situation, so I had to go divert that situation. And literally within that same day, complete the job, rush to do the job, do it right, of course. They come back same day, which is today, and now I'm at Ryder. You can probably see the logo right there behind me on the building right there. But now I'm at Ryder, and I'm doing a lobby remodel with the construction crew. I got to redo all of their networking and servers and all that. So you might has been busy, man. Might has been real busy. Also, supposed to be flying out to Cali probably in the next maybe 2 3 weeks because we got a I got the Portillo's project, and they got some Portillo's out there that's going to be needing the new digital menu boards and all that going. Oh, also, which I was going to save it, I was going to put it in the actual reel, but I landed a contract with Popeyes, man. So I got a job with Popeyes on Monday, redoing their static boards and putting in new digital menu boards. So just giving you guys a little update on what Midas got going on over here, man, with the king in front.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so I found the video. I got it up and loaded. Now I need y'all to pay very close attention to what y'all getting ready to hear. Please and thank you, because it's highly essential that you guys really pay attention, because it's going to explain to you why I looked at this situation and discussed it with my brother as far as why this is a conversation that we need to have today. Now, it's not just about the black context. However, it's from a black perspective that it was said, but it literally it applies across the spectrum. And I really want you guys to pay attention to what's being said.
But been in the neighborhood, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Forever.
But
Now
I
they
don't
got
think
a
it's
code.
fair to generalize. I don't think it's fair to
We
generalize
can't
though.
personalize.
No, I'm not personalizing. I'm just saying I don't think it's general because there's one thing I realized going to HBCU is there are so many different black people. And though our university may not be racially diverse, it's diverse because there's so many different types of black people. So yeah, you have people that are taking advantage, but that's not what I see. I see a lot more hope for us, and I see a lot more. I see a lot of people that are supporting black businesses, and this is me personalizing, but I'll drive 45 minutes to go to Roots before I go to Kim's Hair Plus 15 minutes away.
We need more of you.
But I see a lot of me.
You see a lot of you. Good.
What I love you so much. I have listened
Percentages.
to you for this whole time, and I am more in love.
Listen
with you
specifically to this lady right here.
But you have to understand that she is a different generation from the one before me. My generation is the first generation of African Americans who have full access to opportunity. I can do things that my parents couldn't do.
That's right.
When I opened up the cupcake collection, I had to keep it a secret.
Wow.
From my parents. Wow. Because you don't do that. My level of privilege was you go to college, you climb the corporate ladder. I mean, I have parents that went from my mother was the secretary at the company where she worked with a college degree, and when she retired with an executive offer on the table. Secretary to executive. You climb the corporate ladder. You don't go play business because people that's not sure. And then you have my children who are the first generation of African American people as a collective with access to wealth transference as a collective. So for the first time, you have people who are going to receive property and businesses as a collective. And that's where you would reside. And so therefore you see things differently because things have been passed on to you and you've seen privilege and you've seen opportunity. You see things from a lens that the people before you will never be able to see so clear. But guess what's going to happen with my grandchildren when they come behind you? They're going to be the first generation of African American children, people as a collective with privilege. And they will be able to do things that is going to blow your mind. And things that you won't understand and things you won't be able to relate to.
I'm gonna stop it right there. I'm gonna stop it right there. First and foremost, I use that clip out of fair use. I definitely want y'all. The creator's name is Mellow1K. Follow that TikTok. I definitely want to make sure that because I use their content, I want to be able to shout them out for what they use. But it hit me in such a way that I wanted to bring it to the forefront to actually discuss layers of it and try to apply it to a wider spectrum, but not negate the point that was being made and what was said. So, Midas, I want to hear your thoughts on what did you hear when you heard that.
She's absolutely correct. Our older generation, they grew up, blue collar. Back then it was industrial. You were making cars, you're working at the factory, the steel mill. You were able to get your 401k, you were able to get your pensions, and that's what life was then. You go to school, you go to college, and you get a good job. And through our older generation down to our parents' generation, that somewhat stuck around. But now we're moving into a generation, like she said, we're now moving into even though we're losing some things, 401k isn't as strong as it used to be. Pensions are pretty much non-existent now. But as far as the different levels of opportunity, to where everybody now has It's basically open floor where we can go out and exceed. We can put our mind to something and try to succeed in it and excel in it. Uh, we are starting to rev up on where a lot of as a collective black families or black individuals period are now starting to become homeowners. There's a lot of homeowner conversations going on now. There's a lot of the best mortgages and tips and tricks, and I got a video that's gonna come out shortly talking about how the IRS is even giving you percentages back on your mortgages and stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of privileges and a lot of opportunities and advancements from then to now, for sure.
So one thing I definitely want to touch down on is such a multifaceted way to approach this idea, because when you come from where you have a relative, or you come from where part of your lineage is from abroad, they're not from America. When they thought to come to America, the American dream was to come and get an opportunity to be something that you could not be where you were.
Correct.
So one thing that was always instilled is hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work. So one thing that a lot of people who are from the Caribbean or from certain places, it was never about being entrepreneurs, but it was about going to school, being the best. You need to get the best grades. You need to do the best this. You need to do the best that, because that's the way that you compete. The outward view was not about go and start a company, go and because again, it's like the outward inward view of the American dream was you can go be anything that you want, but find the safest way to get there.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that came with a safety net, an unspoken safety net clause. Like she said, she spoke more on the level of she had to hide her cupcake business because we don't do that. You need to get a job and climb the corporate ladder because that's safe. Running a business is uncertain. But as we've seen in 2020, when a lot of doors started closing and a lot of people was getting furloughed and just all out just all out fired, or the company just going belly up, as you can see that climbing the corporate ladder it ain't safe.
You,
You
you,
know,
you have to be creative about how you got your money.
exactly. And that's the way that the world is moving now. And again, as far as opportunities, we're no longer living in a world where you could just work one job and you straight. It just doesn't exist. I mean, if you're running a successful business, yeah, because you're on the opposite end of it. But if you're on the gig side, yeah, you got to run multiple. You got people that's doing DoorDash and Uber Eats and Postmates all at the same time. We just in that world now where you have to run multiple gigs. You go to work in the morning and then you go on to work at night. Like you just got to hustle, and that's the world that we live in now. So it's not the same back then where again you had your pensions, you had your uh, actual nice 401k where it mattered. That is not like that no more.
Well, and the thing about it too is like that generation that were at their peak performance in the 70s, 80s, the
Hmm.
IBM era, and leading up into the .com era. There was a time to where the education was you can just go in and go get you a professional certificate, a 2-year degree, and that 2-year degree was sufficient because it gave you the skills and training to go directly into the job force. And then somebody would
Yep.
pick you up and it would recruit you right out of school to get the best talent. Then
Yep.
you replaced it to where you have the associate's degree, where you pretty much take a whole bunch of fluff classes that mean absolutely nothing. And you have to wait until you get to your bachelor's degree until you actually get core curriculum. Then it's like, okay, well, now you get your master's and everything else that goes up above it. But at the same time, you're so bogged down with debt that you have to really ask yourself, for the majority of degrees, is it even worth going to school for? When
Well, we definitely still have a purpose for school. Um, You know, I myself went to school, so I'm definitely going to be an advocate for school. However, I have changed my stance on the ground of, or on the grounds of, that use school for an actual, real, legitimate occupation that's required, that it's required for. So, doctor, teacher, something like that, where you actually do need a degree. I would say go ahead and go get it. But any other occupation where you could just get a basic certificate, or just go to a trade school and excel out of the trade school, and now you ready to rock and roll, go that route. You don't need to go get a 4 year. If you're trying to do cable installation, just go to a regular trade school. You don't have to go to a 4 year and get a engineer degree just to install some cable. You ain't got to do that.
Even more so than that, it's like when you start really looking at the wave. I seen like think about when the mobile app wave really started to become something, right?
Yeah.
You had children who were able to code better than people who were going to school in Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
They just go and do something just for fun. And boom.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Children, 10, 11, 12 years old. So according to Ashley, she says these days they push college without any direction. And kids are ending up with degrees that don't help with furthering their situation to progress. I got a philosophy on it, right? Because we have to be very specific when we start talking about they. Because they could be the school system, they could be the parents, they could be, like, you have to think about it. I think that it's far more common now that people are pushing, go to the military if you don't know what to do. Go join the
Yeah.
army.
Yeah. Go join the
Again,
reserve or something.
again, not a bad choice if that's what you're into, or if you need an option so you can fit, because you can go to school in the military, you could get the GI Bill, and there's quite a few things that you could take advantage of. But we really have to look and say to ourselves that the 18-year-old coming out of high school is nowhere near as durable as the 18-year-old in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s.
When you say durable, do you mean like usable?
I mean, as far as school itself is not teaching, it isn't teaching the skills that they once taught.
Yeah. So when she says they, I believe it's all of the above. You know what I'm saying? When she say that they're pushing college and the kids don't know which way, how to go, and any of that, I think it's everybody. It's the parents don't understand because they don't know. Your guidance counselors, I mean, they can help you, apply for some colleges or whatever, but they don't really have a thorough understanding and grasp on who you are and what you really like and where you trying to go. So the only thing they can do is just give you some advice or tips on the surface level. The college itself, they just want you in there. They just want bodies in there. You know what I'm saying, for the tuition. So it's all parties involved that's not cultivating that child to give them the greatest, head start or whatever they need.
I mean, you're not gonna. My thing is that at the end of the day, we have to look at situations more and more that when women started to enter the workforce and they started to become competitors for positions, you 2 and 3x'd a lot of situations. And this isn't a blame on women in any form of fashion. It's just the understanding that when you have more bodies in the workforce, you have more productivity, you have more money generating, you have more need for certain things. So the more need for independence means that we need twice as many apartments, we need twice as many cars, we need twice. And then when you also remember that women are 80% of the consumers in households, the less dedicated a woman is to a household, the more likely she is to spend on leisure things.
Mm-hmm.
Because now she has a house and he has a house. She has an apartment, he has an apartment. So now that's 2 beds. You guys have kids. Well, guess what? If the marriage didn't work, Now the kid got a bed over here, and the kid got a bed over here, and he got a wardrobe
Mhm.
over here, got a wardrobe over there, and he got a
Mhm.
this over here, and he got a this over there. So there's a financial incentive invested in misleading people to go to college and breaking up relationships and breaking up
Yeah.
homes. There's a financial incentive in ensuring the fact that things do not work out and that we keep, because you look at our consumer system is a la carte. At one point in time in society, and again, you could just look at old newsreels, that there was a need for a more well-educated, well-oiled society. Now we're in a place to where that well-oiled machine is not as necessary because of the fact that they transitioned many of us to become consumers. We're not going to work to take care of basic things. But we also have a luxury that comes along with our generation, that if you guys want to start a business, you're a lot less scared to walk out and try something than the generation before us and the generation before them. So, as I've stated before, the concept of being a digital creator, obviously, for those of us that came up pre 2000s, that thing didn't exist. All of our favorite musicians, they had specific teams of people who were dedicated to making them look like they were who we saw them as.
Mhm.
All of our favorite entertainers, Oprah, you don't know about the hours of makeup and hair and wardrobe that she had to go through before she went to go do her show. You just see how fabulous she looked and how graceful she is, but you don't know who's dealing with her as far as her speech and being able to read those cues and being able to tap into that layer of personality. You know, what about counseling service? What about all the things you don't know about all of the industry, which is Oprah? All the things that tie into, we just see her as the enigmatic figure, but all the behind the scenes things that made her what she was,
Mhm.
we have no idea. We have no idea. You got to think about it. Like, you know, I don't want to say rest in peace, Jerry Springer, but rest in peace, Jerry Springer, whatever. That show became popular not just because of Jerry Springer's ability to get people on camera to act like buffoons. Majority, if not all of that stuff was scripted. There were script writers. There were people, I mean, Steve Wilkos got a alternate career. Like, I remember Steve Wilkos as he was the boogeyman in my neighborhood when I was coming up. When he tells people like, hey, and again, if you don't know who Steve Wilkos is, like, he has his own show. He was kind of a spinoff of,
I'll be right back.
all right, he was a
I got to check
spinoff
something.
of Jerry Springer. Steve Wilkos was a police officer in my neighborhood when I was growing up. He was a scary dude because of the things that he did. I'm not discrediting him as an officer. What I'm saying is the fact that he was a rough man. So to see him transition to becoming a bouncer on a TV show, to becoming a TV show host, is crazy to me, because I remember him as a street cop. And when he was a beat cop, he wasn't nobody to be played with. He was no joke. But case in point in all of this is the fact that there are things that we see in this generation that the generation before us would try to tell us don't do. Oh, go get a good job. Oh, don't worry about all of that. Oh, get yourself here and get yourself there first before you do something like that. Oh, well, there's nothing. But the business and the company that you guys work for and the executives in the companies that you guys are dedicating yourselves to, they took a chance on themselves. And their lack of needing a safety net is the reason why you have a safety net. And that's the crazy That's the entire crazy part, is that their lack of somebody else's lack of need for a safety net is the reason you have a safety net. But to talk about that with people, there's a level of fear because of what was instilled into certain people. Whereas when you look at my daughter's generation, they don't have that fear. And one of the big problems that we have is that with the generational gap between us, like us millennials, those of us that qualify as millennials, one of the big problems that we have is that we're 1 foot in the older generation and 1 foot in this generation.
Mhm.
I want to do this. I'm sitting on the podcast 3 days a week. I'm expressing my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions, and whatever else is going on. But as soon as this camera go off, I'm about to go to my regular job. What is the separation between saying, you know what, I'm gonna give everything that I have and I'm gonna do what it is that I love to do, because that's what my heart is, and that's when.
That's what it takes.
But
That's
see,
all it takes.
but that's the millennial situation. That's one of the millennial situations, is the fact that they're 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
That's why that's why I love our particular, I guess, our little carved out piece of where we jumped in on the timeline, because we're on both ends. So we get to see, we saw the old, and then we saw the old starting to fade out, and then we saw the new, and now the new is coming in extremely fast. So I mean, I like where we was at, because we got to experience everything.
The one thing that's most impressive, if not for anything else, is the fact that when you look at all that the world has to offer, a lot of us don't know how to dream. We don't know how to desire. We don't know anything because what we were taught. A lot of us were taught to play it safe.
That's powerful, Mike. That's a very powerful statement. A lot of people don't know how to dream.
Then, on top of not knowing how to dream, there's a lot of us that are career dreamers and we don't know how to execute. We have no idea. As soon as we have great, brilliant ideas, within a second that, like for instance, I can tell you one thing: Ashley is a great cook. I don't know if it's something that she ever wanted to do as a career, but I've seen some dishes that's just kind of like, yo, what are you doing with that? But the question is, number one, is there a desire to pursue? And if there's a desire to pursue, what's stopping? A lot of us is debt, it's bills. No matter what you state it is, it's excuses.
Well, and I feel kind of indifferent about the whole having a desire, having the passion. At, at the end of the day, you got the skill. That is your natural born talent. You know how to take spices and herbs, and you know how to prepare, you know how to set the right temperature, you know how to make sauce. You like that's a talent. Can it be taught? Yes, but a lot of people naturally, they just know how to cook. They the bomb. I don't believe in you need to have a desire or passion to be a chef. If that is a talent that you have, then utilize that talent, get your paper, and then utilize that talent into something that you actually want to do. But don't let the talent go to waste.
I agree with a portion of that. Don't let the talent go to waste. Everything else is up for debate.
No, it's not.
It
No,
is.
it's not.
It is.
No, if you are a singer, you get your ass on that microphone and you make some money, and then you put that money into what you really want to do. You no, you that is irresponsible.
Agree,
Period.
agree to disagree.
Irresponsible.
Completely agree to disagree. But I don't discredit the validity of what you're saying. I do feel that anybody who has a skill should be looking to that skill. But because
Yes.
of the fact that skills can be acquired at a moment's
Well, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
for
so
sure.
therefore it's like, just because I
We,
can
but I said natural born talent. Some people are naturally born to know how to put ingredients. They just know, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, just a little bit of salt, a little bit of this, and some nutmeg. Da, da, da. Man, you know what I'm saying? Chef Boyardee. You know what I'm saying? They
I don't
just
think
they're naturally born with
I
that.
don't think they naturally born with it, but I think they gravitate to.
There's an individual in this podcast that is naturally a natural born writer. Just saying.
I don't know who that is.
I know who it is.
It's you.
No, it ain't me.
Oh man, I had to close my hairline and it's getting hot.
Just saying.
all,
Natural
I'm,
born writer. Utilize the skill.
all I'm saying is this: when you looking at certain things, like, and I want to be very clear with this.
Okay.
The last time you talked to your dad, the last time you talked to your mom, and I'm just still throwing this as a hypothetical, it's not individualized. But the
Mhm.
last time that you talked to somebody from a generation prior to you and you look at the advice that they gave you have to remember that there's a portion of that advice that is predicated off of their life experiences. So you have to remember that there's layers to the advice. Number one, when I look at you from your life experience, for those who know, I used to be a cigarette smoker back in the day. Me and my Newports used to have a little rendezvous nightly. And I lived in a very unsavory area of the city of Chicago, Illinois. So you could buy things a la carte everywhere that you wanted. And sometimes it would be the most unsavory people who were able to sell you what you wanted for a price that you was willing to pay for it. So we had what was called the Loose Square Man.
Mm-hmm.
The Loose Square Man, he would be out on the corner selling his squares or whatever. Loose cigarettes. I don't know why they all sounded like that.
They
Anyway,
all did. Yeah, they did.
they all loose squares, CDs, DVDs, loose squares. Like, they all sounded like that. I don't know why. But
CDs, DVDs. Oh, you bringing back memories, dog.
anyway, this is how long it's been since I've been out of poverty, so y'all just got to work with me here. But oftentimes, because you would see these people on a regular basis, that y'all would have conversations. And there was one guy that was in particular that is like I spoke to him, and he had a bachelor's in finance. He played ball in Hawaii. And you could tell by the way he's telling the story that he's not lying about what he's saying. There's very intimate details that only somebody who is there would know. And you could generally hear that when you listen to somebody telling a story, because you usually know when somebody is fabricating something or when somebody's recalling a memory. You could see it in his face to where it's like he was sober for a couple of minutes while telling his story about who he was. And meanwhile, as he's telling this story, he's telling this story because I'm just getting off of the train, walking home, getting ready to go home from school. And as a young man, although he's selling me loose cigarettes, he's trying to encourage me to stay in school and get as far away from this place as humanly possible. As he's telling me the stories and having the conversations, the only thing that I see is that the money that you make off of these loose cigarettes, once you get to enough of it, you're finna go to the other corner and go grab you a bag of heroin and get your fix for the night. All your accomplishments, everything that you did, all it's worth is you hustling night and day to make enough to get your fix and nod off in your living room. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we sit there and we talk about the potential of a man. We talk about what they have to offer, what they do, what they give, what these situations mean overall. There's a generation to where using drugs was fun. Freebasing, using cocaine freely, it was just something that you did. This is before the opioid or the pill generations, like before hard crack cocaine. There was a generation of where we go do whatever we do and we just take us a little bump and then go about our business. And it was regular.
You can function.
And that's the guy who's sitting here having a conversation telling me, man, don't do it. Meanwhile, while he's selling me my gateway down the same path that he went to. Obviously, you ain't got no sound effects to give me, but
Right,
I'll take
right.
it. I can't hear you, Midas.
How about now?
Nothing at all.
No?
Nope. The most qualified people to tell somebody what not to do is the people that are suffering from it.
How about now?
You can hear him? I can't hear him at all. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Can they still hear me?
Hello, 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 hello.
Mic check, mic check. Oh, so you can hear me. Well, while he's trying to figure out what's going on, that story was kind of deep.
Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me good? I can't hear you at all.
That is a Jones problem.
Say something, I'm giving up on you. I can't hear nothing. I don't know what happened. The Illuminati then finally got me. You know what? I made. They finally said enough is enough of this dude. He's out of here. He's done, son. Word is bond, kid. Guys, if y'all can hear me, say something, please. Write something in the chat if you can hear me, because I don't know why I wait until the last 9 minutes of the podcast to decide they want to chop me off. Okay, so clearly Jose can hear me. Can everybody else hear me? Say loud and clear. Okay, he can hear me loud and clear.
You're loud and clear.
I can hear you, but I can't hear Midas. Can y'all hear Midas?
They said they hear me.
Can y'all hear Midas with the king in the front? Let's go. Can y'all hear him? Oh, come on, dog. All right, so I'm gonna have to read lips for a minute. Then we gonna keep rocking and rolling. Midas is coming through clear. All right, so I'm being hated on is what y'all telling me. Hold on a second. I got the eye of the tiger. Something else. There's something, and I think it's something. And you're gonna hear me cry.
Oh, you deaf again. This is the reality of podcasting, man. Like the hardware, cameras, internet, everything, man. It's constant.
All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, so for all those delays, I think I owe y'all another like 5 minutes or something for the delays. Y'all, I owe y'all another 5 minutes.
Can you hear me?
I'll hear you just fine now.
Okay, cool.
You sound beautiful. You sound handsome. Deep.
I'm about to say beautiful. Mm-mm.
Beautiful. I just want you to know. You're my favorite, bro.
Oh, okay. You clean that up.
Hey, listen, man. Y'all make
No,
sure
we
y'all
do we do got to give them 5 minutes though. You know what I'm saying? They deserve that.
All right. And I just want y'all to know that I'm over here sweating bullets. I'm sweating the last of my hairline out, but I'm doing it just for y'all because I love y'all. Say, all the bromance is strong with these two. It's how you know the love is real. Listen, that's how you know the love is real because I will get on live and I will sing and serenade my brother. And I don't care what nobody got to say about it. If he was close enough for me to hug him, he would get one. All right, this is getting weird. Anyway.
All right. So, generational gap. So, you know what I'm saying? Just understand. Uh, I mean, I think everybody does understand that our older generation, they come from a different time period. Rules were different. The way of life was different. You know what I'm saying? There was definitely a lot of, head bumping. I ain't trying to get too racial, but there was a lot going on. that stopped a lot of growth and development of things for us to be able to move forward. And we just have to take that into consideration as to now, like the young lady said in the video, we are now entering a time of our lives to where the opportunities are endless, and we're going for it. Our children today, like you said, Mike, they're not scared. They're not scared, and there's no reason to be. And I think what's given us the ability to not be scared is the fact that I can simply just open my phone and I can go make money whenever I feel like it. I can go give somebody a lift or an Uber ride whenever I feel like it. I can go deliver somebody's food whenever I feel like it. I can open up GigWorks or whatever other app, and if Circle K or Speedway needs somebody to come in and cover a 4-hour shift, I can do that whenever I feel like it. And I think that's what's given us that cushion or safety net rather to go out here and be adventurous and take on these new adventures and business adventures and things of that nature. So I think that's what's really driving our level of comfort.
Jose says that at this day and time, in my opinion, males are still being raised to do like in the 50s and 80s, or 50s through 80s, while females are being raised to be more independent. You have to understand
Yes.
that there's a financial incentive for women to defy gender roles.
Hmm.
And anybody can argue this whether they want to. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they do because I can look at the fruits. Feminism is Satan. I don't care what you say. I don't care what anybody feels. Anybody can argue with the brick wall for all I care. Whatever it matters. Anybody who is a practitioner of feminism, you are feeding into a satanic order that is destroying households left and right by trying to push this independence agenda. And by pushing this independence agenda, the only thing that you're doing is you're teaching women to think like men and to value a man's wallet versus valuing the content of his character. And at the end of the day, I think that we've gotten very, very, very far away from what traditional feminism was, what it was intended to be, and it was been abused and misused and turned into something that is absolutely unfathomable for the fact that now it went from teaching women that they were capable to second wave feminism, which were teaching women to be independent, to now in the third wave is teaching women that men are disposable.
Yeah.
To
It was
where,
weaponized.
yeah, it's like that's literally what we got is the fact that when you look at me, you have tick marks to where, okay, well, he's above 6 feet, he's this, and this. Well, how much of this he got? Okay, when he opened up his wallet, let me see what he got up in there. Let me test his weight. We got one of them. Okay, cool. Yeah, you are more concerned with how far you can stretch the limits of my wallet than the content of my character. And that means a lot more. And again, this is not by and large. Let's just go ahead and get it out the way. We're not talking about all. I don't like having these. I don't like having these disclaimers, but I do understand I'm in a public space. I should never have to say all because I deal with people with common sense. But if somebody ever catches this and they think that I'm talking about all, no, there are, in my opinion, there are many, if not most women are still fairly traditional in their ways. It's just that the ones that are against traditional values have louder voices and more soapboxes to speak from. The ones who know the pitfalls of this ideology and the ones who know the downfall of that ideology, they're not getting the time to speak or they don't realize the value in their voices. That's
In a
true.
nutshell, I mean, a lot of I see a lot of foot in, what I'm saying, foot in, foot out, like foot in on uh traditional, and then another foot in on independence. And I'm just confused on how that works. Like the whole 50-50 thing and all that, like all of that is really confusing to me. The one foot in where you say you wanna take care of the household and have children, but then you want to be out in the corporate world being a boss. I don't know. I just don't. I'm so confused because how are the children going to be tended to if you're a boss and I'm a boss? Like how does that work?
Well, the thing about it is that there's
My
no,
light is dying.
oh
Yeah.
no. I mean, it's like no matter what the circumstances are, and it's like not to go too far off the deep end. It's just that one of the main things about the traditional way of life was the fact that people had an understanding of what they contributed to the household. So for me, one of my ideas of what I understand my role to be is that I don't care if you work, but that should be an option. It should not be mandatory. So it took me a while to work myself into a position to where I could support a household off of my own income, but I can do that. Now, as far as my job is concerned or what I do, could I do something else? Would I want to do something else? You're going to always want to do something else because you either get bored, you get burned out, whatever the circumstances may be. However, I accept it as my responsibility that it's not about what I like or don't like. That's her job. She can like or dislike. She can try whatever she could treat it like Baskin and Robbins, 37 flavors. I want to do this week. I want to do it because your money is not a factor here. It may help save up for a vacation, savings account, paying off credit card debt, whatever have you. But as far as the core necessity for life, for the basics that our life consists of, the maintenance of vehicles. If you want to drive a certain kind of car, you work, go buy your car. You want to spend $500 on a car? No, go do it. No problem. You should have the luxury to do that because you support the thing. You support the extra. You want us to go to Jamaica or Thailand or something like that? Okay, cool. Use your money to save up toward that thing that you want for us. You want to decorate the house? You want to do something extravagant? Okay, cool. Use your money for that. But as far as the basics of making sure that there's food on the table, making sure that the rent or the mortgage is paid, making sure lights are on, water, making sure that the internet so the kids can do the schoolwork, making sure that
Hmm.
whatever's necessary to
The
have,
necessities that matter, that
that
actually
is
matter,
my job. So that's what works in my house.
real necessities that matter. Yes.
And I also want to put this out there, right? People had an understanding that no two households were exactly the same. So when people talk about traditional women, the role that a woman played in the household and the role that a man played in the household, there was an understanding. There was an understanding of what those roles were. It wasn't just about when we throw this term out, oh, gender roles, or well, because you're a woman, you're supposed to do this. Well, guess what? I like to cook. I do majority of the cooking. That's my thing. I don't need you in the kitchen. I don't need you to iron my clothes. You don't even like to iron. You like to steam clothes. Well, guess what? I like to iron. I like a crease in my pants. I like the feel of pressed pants. So don't worry, I can take care of that. I don't need you to wash my clothes because I'm a stickler about how my clothes are washed. Certain things I want hung dry, certain things I throw in the dryer. I don't need you to do those things. Whereas in a quote unquote traditional household, oh, you do the cooking, you do the cleaning, I go out and I go make the money. I don't need that. So how we negotiate our roles and what we do, number one, how we enter the relationship is based off what you and I agree to. And number two is over time, the terms of agreement are scheduled, they are subject to change. Because
Correct.
now I might be taking a position of upward mobility that requires me to be more in the office or more on the field. And now my position requires me to travel around and do X, Y, Z. I might be ready to go.
Pivoting,
Yeah. So
pivoting,
that's
because a conversation doesn't always need to take place.
it's just
Just, just,
understanding.
just
It's
see you
understanding
see
that,
what play is being ran.
yeah. So basically, what's on the table?
Get in the game.
Okay, this is what I need to do. Here's what I need from you. You got it? We good? Okay, cool. Okay, well, here's what I need from you. No problem. I got it. Everybody know their role. And where there's confusion, you have the discussions, you iron out the wrinkles, and you keep it going. So everybody has to understand that just because we agreed 6 weeks ago that this is how things were supposed to go, you don't know until 6 weeks later about the flaw in that plan. So we gotta, once we get there, we gotta iron it out. Don't just not say nothing. Don't just not address the situation, because you know what happens, that thing over time is gonna become a bigger and bigger and bigger thing. And I didn't know it was festering inside of you for 6 months when you discovered it at 6 weeks. We could have had that out the way and nipped in the bud. You chose to withhold that from me. You, in essence, that's part of it, is understanding that you have to allow the opportunity to come back to the table and renegotiate terms. But you have to enter the situation with terms of understanding what we're going to do. So if I
Yeah,
say,
and not only entering with terms, and not only coming to term that the terms are not going to be the same terms later. You have to be open minded to be able to be understanding that we need to change the terms.
flexible coach,
You have like you have to. Flexibility is mandatory. It's not when you feel like it or anything. You know.
but hey, I need a fork. Look, man, I got spoons and knives. Can you go get me a fork, man? Look, all I want to do is touch the spoons and knives. I don't want to touch forks.
Hmm.
You're right. You have to adopt and overcome. Say you want to send your kid to the Olympics, then make it a priority. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to understand that in order to get things to where they need to be, sacrifices have to be made and compromise. I don't even say sacrifices, but compromises have to be made in order to get things to where it needs to be. It just doesn't work any other kind of way. I don't care what anybody tells you. That if anybody is so much of a stickler that their way is the only way that things need to be done, you are an uncompromising individual and you don't really want what you say that you want. And now we have a whole different conversation that we need to have. Anyway, speaking of conversations that we need to have, Extraordinary Man Podcast, we have 336 subscribers in on the YouTube channel. I don't know when the last time you guys have been to the actual YouTube channel, but we are growing exponentially by the day. We continue to get new subscribers in every day. So thank you guys, and thank all the guys that are tuning in, wherever they're tuning in from, that are paying attention to our content, whether passively or religiously. Thank you to Jose, Ashley. Thank you to Mike, Relentless Mikey. Thank you to the people who are constantly showing their support for what it is that we do. Your support is invaluable. We like y'all feedback and everything that you guys give to the podcast, all the questions that y'all ask, all the feedback that y'all give, and all the criticism that y'all give on the back end. Again, Jose, thank you for buying the sweater. Thank you for deciding that you wanted to represent the brand because you believe in what it stands for. 1,000 kudos to you for that situation. Aside from that, you guys know this is shameless plug time because I have no shame in plugging this because I believe in it like I believe in washing my behind. Right there at the bottom of the screen, that is the
Please
subscribe.
use your communication device. Please use your cellular device, your cyborg maker. Scan that QR code. Please head over to the YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, and click the bell so you are always in the loop when we are live. Also, make sure you head over to the Facebook group, the Extraordinary Men Facebook group, where we are starting to, well, actually we've been, but you need to join in on conversations over there where we're having great group discussions, and we bring them here to the podcast and we discuss them live with the world. Also, shout out to the two people. It just came across my cell phone. Two people just like one of my reels. So shout out to y'all. Thank you for liking my reel.
Tell them I said. No, but as always, we appreciate all the time and attention that you guys dedicate to the podcast and dedicate to the operation that we got running here. We are trying our best to make this thing turn into the biggest platform on the face of the planet. I want every last one of the people that I love to be able to utilize this platform in some way to help them elevate in some form or fashion, whether they see it or not. And I want Relentless Mikey to be able to take on the passion of being able to track down all these child predators and put them where they belong.
Mm-hmm.
With all that being said, guys, thank you guys for another amazing night. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow morning, Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. Nope, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central Time. And what we're going to be talking about, it's going to be juicy. No, I'm just thinking about the salmon.
Big butts?
Huh?
You said juicy. I said big butts.
Can't lie. No, stop. Anyway, guys, thank you guys as always. Peace.